All right, this is a homework help for 2.7 solving linear inequalities. In the following exercise, graph each inequality on the number line. Okay, so let's look at part B. All I'm going to do is draw a quick little number line here. And the only number I really care about here is the -2. So that's the only one I'm going to put on there. If it helps you to put other numbers, like you can put a 0 on there just to show relative placement, you can. It says less than, and so we're going to use little parentheses there. And we know we're going to the left. So somehow make it super clear which direction you are going, highlighting darker or using a highlighter. Now, you may have learned this as well with an open circle, and that's fine too. The text in college algebra, which most of you will be moving to later, uses the parentheses, which I'll be honest, I kind of like a little better because it mimics our interval notation, which doesn't ask for on this one, but I'll go ahead and give it to you for free. We're going from left to right, and so we're starting from the -infinity side. So -infinity, comma, and then we end at -2, and it gets the parentheses. If it were equal to, we would use the hard bracket on the number. The infinity always gets the parentheses. Okay, what about part C? I'm going to go ahead and draw my number line. And I'm going to put my -3. Now this one is greater than or equal to, so I know I'm going to be shading to the right, and I'm going to have a hard bracket here on the number line. And just make it really clear which direction you're going. You can use a highlighter, whatever you want to do. Interval notation doesn't ask for it on this one, but I'll go ahead and give it to you again. We're going to go from -3, comma, to the positive infinity direction. Again, if you're going to the right, it's positive infinity. Going to the left, it's negative infinity. Okay, this next little group. It's the same thing, except it's actually asking you to do interval notation. Okay, so we have -1/2. X is less than -1/2. Put your number line. We're going to say -0.5. We know we're going to the left. It's less than. Put a hard bracket there. You know, you may have had a course where you had open circles and closed circles, so this would have been a closed circle back in the day. So again, going to say -infinity, because again, this is the negative direction, -infinity, comma, -0.5. And we put a bracket. The bracket corresponds to that equal to, means that we can include that 0.5. Okay, so notation, that's probably the trickiest part on inequalities. Now with 451, we've got a few of these. Here we're solving, just like we did with equations, except if we divide by a negative, we know we have to flip that inequality sign. So here, I've got to get rid of that -8, so I'm dividing both sides by -8. And when I do that, I'm going to get V. I divided by negative, so greater than or equal to 96 divided by 8. As I divide by -8 is a -12. And then it says go ahead and put it on the number line and write in interval notation. So this one's got all three pieces solving and graphing this greater than -12. Get a hard bracket greater than, going to the right, and interval notation from -12, comma, infinity. Okay, and then 469. Just like we were solving equations, we're going to go ahead and get our p's together. I typically get the variable term to the left, especially with inequalities. Subtract 14p from both sides. And so this is going to be a -5p. Do I flip my inequality sign? No, because I'm just subtracting 14p, only if I multiply or divide by negative. So it's going to stay greater than, and make sure you keep that -18. One more step. I'll divide through by a -5. Now this time I did divide by negative, so I am going to flip it. So -18/5. -18 over -5 is going to be positive, so we'll just say 18/5. And sometimes these make more sense if you will write this as a mixed fraction or decimal. So that's going to be 3 3/5. But you can leave it as an improper fraction, that's fine. And then on number line, I'm kind of running out of room, I'm not doing that one, so we'll just go ahead and pop it over here. So I'm just going to put 18/5 here. It says less than, so I know it's going to be going to the left, my open parentheses. And so this is the negative direction. So I'm going to say negative infinity, comma, 18/5. And that gets the parentheses. These will all match, right? All right. Now the three-part inequality is also called double inequalities. We have three parts and we have two inequalities. So these were not in the text, but you need to be able to do them. So let's go ahead and do these. So our goal here is to get x in the middle. So here's our goal, x, and then some sort of inequality symbols, and then some numbers over here. Okay. So with that in mind, how do I get x in the middle? I've got a -3 here. And just like with equations, I'm going to go ahead and add 3. This time we have 3 parts. Those cancel. So 3 minus 3 is 0. So 0 less than or equal to, I'm left with an x, less than or equal to, 7 plus 3 is 10. So when they're written this way, with x in the middle, inequality symbols both pointing that way, in this class they will always be going that direction, I believe. It is, if not, that means we divided by negative and they're flipped, and so you can always rewrite it going that direction. It means that x is in between these two values. So all I put are these two numbers on here, 0 and 10. And remember, we read from the perspective of the x. X is greater than or equal to 0. So that means it's greater than 0. I'm going to be shading this way. And x is less than or equal to 10. So it's less than or equal to 10. I'm going to be shading this way. And the shading is the intersection of those shades. So it's just that part in the middle. It'll always be that part in the middle. Almost always. And here it'll always be that part in the middle. The one time it wouldn't be that I can think of right now is if it were no solutions, if you ended up being something that didn't work. And I'm not going to give you that in here. A lot of times these things actually arise from absolute values, so you'll get into that in college algebra. We won't do that in this class. And so what's the interval notation here? Well, the way we've written it, it makes it fairly easy just to pull it off. We're just going to have the bracket, the number, comma, 10, and the bracket. So you want to, when you see the inequalities, that you can visualize the graph and you can visualize the interval notation. Okay, one more. If you haven't done these, pause the video, see if you can do number 4 here. All right, welcome back. So what are we going to do? We have 3x minus 4 in the middle. I've got to add 4 to all 3 sides. Now, another way to do these, if you look online, they probably show you can split this off into 2 different inequalities and then merge them back to the other end. I find it easier, to be honest, when these aren't super hard like this, just to work with it like this, the way we're doing it. So 8 plus 4 is 12. Bring down your inequality symbol. 3x is left, and then 13 plus 4 is less than or equal to 17. Okay, one more step. You got it. Divide by 3. But we divide all the parts by 3. So those cancel. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 4 less than, the x is left in the middle, less than or equal to, and we'll just say 17/3. Okay, so what do we have here? On the number line. And if you wanted to, you could write that as 5 2/3. I'm going to put my 2 numbers in order. Oop, can't see that. There we go. And then what are we going to do? It says x is greater than 4. So I'm going to use my paren. I'm going to shade that way. X is less than or equal to 17/3. So I'd shade that way. And it's everything in the middle. So in notation, I can just peel that right off, 4, comma, 17/3. Just like that. So I hope that helps.